Hello YouTube, forgive my voice. Today I would like to talk about my mother-in-law, my wolf mother. That was as well another incredible experience. She was the sweetest, the nicest, the most devoted person I ever had the privilege to come across. She would do anything for you. She will do anything for her children, for her family. I was in awe of her. I absolutely adored her. But one thing I did notice after a while is that she was always ready to cry. She was always extremely apologetic. She was always putting herself down. She'll always say, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just stupid anyway. You know, I just don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just so stupid. You know, I was never the smart one." And she'll cry quite often. And another thing that I didn't notice in that family dynamic, she was doing everything. She was doing everything, and it looked like she was in charge of everything, but she had no respect. No one seemed to have any respect for her. And they were never helping her with anything. And another thing that used to puzzle me as well was that the three kids were constantly lying to her. They were constantly making up half-truths, but they were never upfront with her. And they were always mocking her. It seemed to me after a while that she was actually they were using her almost as the butt of the joke to entertain themselves or to have somebody to laugh at. You know, when the four, you know, because it was a family of 5, you know, when all of them were gathered, the brother, my wolf, his sister, and the husband, and the mother, when they were together, somehow she always ended up being the one to be laughed at. I thought that was kind of strange. Well, no, I just took it in stride. It didn't quite sit well with me, but you know, the family seemed to function quite well, a very nice family. So, you know, a well-to-do family, and the mother was always helping everybody, always part of all sorts of charities, and you know, she was always very busy helping in hospitals and in places, and very an active participant of the community as well. And they were so nice. But slowly, when you live in such a, you know, when you live in such an environment, I surprised myself one day when I was traveling with my sister-in-law and with my mother-in-law, and my child, my first child, you know, he was still a baby, and we were traveling, and I can't remember exactly what happened or what was said, but I ended up making fun of her too, and I shocked myself. I you know, and then, you know, I said something that wasn't very, very nice to her, but and then she broke down. Her own daughter was on you know, she was in the middle, she was sitting on an airplane, we were all inside the airplane, and I was on, you know, on the left hand side of hers, and her own daughter was on the right hand side of her. I believe her daughter probably instigated the situation, and I rallied, or had jumped on that bandwagon, and I saw her break down and crying, you know, she cried silently and she wiped her tears, and then I woke up. It's like you know, seeing her like that jolted me out of that, whatever that was that I was doing, and I thought, I can't believe I done that. And I apologized to her. I said, I'm so sorry, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. And yeah, when you stay long enough with those people, sometimes, you know, you end up doing things that are not even like you. But anyway, that's not so much the subject for today. And one of the things that ended up happening between me and my mother-in-law is that because I wasn't raised like that, where the parent becomes, you know, almost like the maid, you know, everybody participates in the family, everybody has their place, and everybody has their chores, and everybody helps each other to create some kind of harmony and make it everybody easy on everyone. So not one person is responsible for everything, you know, everybody contributes in the running of the household so that everything is easy for everyone. And so, you know, it was hard for me to sit around and let that woman just break her back on everything. It just naturally did not come naturally to me. So I would always, you know, be helpful, always be mindful of her and be respectful of her, and, you know, I'll have conversation with her, lengthy conversation with her, and talk about, you know, I've always been like that, you know, and she'll open up to me and tell me about herself, about her past, about growing up, about her father, about her own family and certain things, and we'll just have some really, really nice conversations. But I could tell that I was showing her, you know, I was being with her in a way that I don't think other people did. Even the other extended family beyond, you know, her children and her husband. I would even see her friends being very dismissive of her. And those were childhood friends of hers, because it was a tight community where, you know, people have known each other for generations. And they kind of grew up together, and, you know, my wolf would have, you know, grew up with the best friend of his mother, the child of his mother's best friend, and everybody knew everybody, you know, and they've known each other like for eons. And yet with the people that everybody around her never seemed to me like they were, you know, kind with her. They were dismissive of her, you know. There was always that superior attitude towards her. So here I am, I come into this family, and I start, you know, and I automatically give her respect and attention and validation, and, you know, I take the time to talk to her, I laugh with her, I share with her, you know, I She liked gardening, and so do I, although I'm not good at it, but I still love the process. And we were, we really, really connected. But eventually, I ended up feeling suffocated with her, by her, because the impression I was left with is that no matter what I did, no matter how much I tried to include her in my life as a young couple and with her own child, a son, and it was just never enough. There was no boundary. She just kept asking for more, and then she was just, all with a smile and with a smile and under the cover wanting to help and being part. I really felt like she was engulfing me, or at the end she gave me the impression that, I felt almost like I was drowning, because she really, really, really she had no boundaries, and literally felt like if I gave her a little bit, she just went and, took 3 times as much as I initially wanted to give her. She was extremely emotionally needy. And there was no end. It felt like if I closed my eyes, even now, if I think about her, it was almost like an abyss. It doesn't matter what you put inside that abyss, it's never full, But now that I'm learning about the pathology of narcissism and the effects on the people around them, and how the people who love them suffers, I am seeing all of that situation in such a different light now. And I can't help but wonder whether that woman, she was a completely broken woman. She was a completely and totally broken woman. And she was broken beyond repair. And that's how she ended up being. I'm pretty sure she wasn't like that to start with, but she ended up becoming this abyss of nothing, in constant need. It's like what they say, when somebody is drowning, you have to be very careful in how you approach them. If possible, leave the professional deal with them, because they can take you with them, they can take you down, because they're just so panicked that they no longer are in position of thinking clearly. They panic so much, they'll grab onto anything that's thrown at them, and if you throw themselves directly at them, they can literally they can kill you, take you down with them. And I think that's the situation with my mother-in-law. She was in that state. She had become that drowning person herself. So me being so young and so naive and so willing to give myself and so wanting to help, and as well, having probably my own need to make connection with her, and just being so happy to have found such a mother-in-law, and being in love with the nice family, and just all of those things that you have when you're a nice person and you're very young and naive, that she clung to me. She was clinging, and she was taking me down with her. And I had to push her. I literally had to push her away at the end, because I just couldn't. She was making me anxious. It was just became just too much for me to deal with. But now I feel sorry for her. I think she was the victim of more than just one sociopath. I think her husband was one. Her husband had that same charisma as my wolf. That man would literally disappear. You know, he could sit somewhere and you could almost forget that he's there. But then the minute that you remember that he's there and then you talk to him or something, there was some magic that would suddenly come upon him, and he'll smile at you and he'll talk to you, and you will be trapped in that charm. And it was quite something to witness, you know. At the time it was like, wow, but now I'm just like, oh, when I think about it. I mean, you never suspect, you would never know, but I think he was running that show, and he had the children. The children were his henchmen, and my son was not my son, my wolf, which is their son, which was the firstborn. Who was the firstborn? I think he was leading the charges against his mother. And there was him, and then there was his sister. But I think my wolf was very much with his father running the show. And then his sister was second. But I think the scapegoat of that family was the brother, the youngest brother. And I say that because when I first arrived, I couldn't, again, here's one of those contradictions that happened, where I had that very, that image of my wolf being this nice person, and this friendly person, and this generous person. And there he was, always being mean to his own brother. I mean, his brother would approach him and he'll be like, what do you want? He was always so dismissive of him and always looking at him with disdain almost, you know, like he was up here and his brother was down here. Always. And again, I didn't think badly of it. I didn't even judge the situation, and I'll just come in and just say, why are you talking to him like that? Don't talk to him like that. Don't do that to him. Oh no, you shouldn't be talking to your brother, always interfering and making the things better, which eventually he stopped approaching or addressing his brother this way when I was there. So I never saw that behavior after a while. But looking back, I'm realizing the youngest brother was a scapegoat he was the black sheep of the family. He was the one that everybody dumped things on. And that was the dynamic. And I wasn't aware of what it was, you know, at the time. But certainly it looks very, very different to me now. And also, I always had that impression. I have the impression that your dad wants to turn me into his mother. And I used to say that almost jokingly. And I didn't realize just how truthful that statement was, or that instinct, because it was, you know, it was something I used to say jokingly, but it was pure instinct. There was no pure, proper reasoning or rationalization behind me coming up with it. But now I know it's true. That's what he's trying to turn me into. That's what he wants me to become. Like his mother. Like his mother. And I remember not so long ago, I even said to him, you know, you just want me to just shut up and serve you and keep, you know, I'm sorry about that. And I said, just make myself available to you, right? And he just laughed. He put his head down and he just laughed, and he had that little smirk on his face and, oh, well, you said it. And even when I said that to him, I was joking. I just didn't think that that is the aim goal. To break me like they broke their own mothers. And he's using my children, our children, to help me break me. To help him break me like they broke their own mother. Like they destroyed her and transform her into this pathetic creature. Truly sad. Weird. But in another video, I'll tell you how I got myself out of there. And thank God I did. And again, I did it without even realizing just what a good decision that was. I'll say it and I'll tell the story in a different video.